Patrol fighter found on all squadrons of these carriers changed. 2 kilometers. Yes! They did it! They finally did fighter spotting. Let's go. Yes. Oh, I'm so happy. Finally. Woo! We've been asking for it for years. Let's go, baby. Yeah. Bo's happy, bro. After all this time, dude. Finally, we got it. All right, I'm happy. I'm happy with the test. They can literally cut it off right now, bro. I'm happy. That makes me happy. Fighter spotting reduced from 15 to 2 kilometers. Right there. That is massive. We need that so bad. Maximum plane spotting reduced from 15 to 6, which means that the fighters can spot other aircraft that are 6 kilometers away. That's massive, dude. Oh my god, bro. Please, for the love of God, this needs to make it a live server. That makes me so happy. After all these years, man. After all these years. After all these years, we finally get it. 15 to 2. Oh man, that's perfect. The rest of these are damage balance stages for the planes, like right now. So like they're changing it from 2 to 3, reducing the damage. They're reducing the amount of time between from 8 to 6 seconds. This is all just balance changes for damage and how long. There's all this change. Damage resistance during the descent and recon is reduced accordingly, which makes perfect sense. Damage resistance during the attack, perimeters, and aiming is reduced. That's perfectly fair. I like that a lot. But dude, you guys have no idea how massive that is. That's massive. That makes me so happy, dude, that after all this time, they're finally doing that. Man, you guys have no idea. That's perfect. Like, it's just perfect, bro. You guys have no idea. Like, to me, that's perfect. Perfect, 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 perfect. Changes parameters from 8 seconds to 4 seconds. That's acceptable. It makes it easier. Like, it's fine. Like, all this stuff to me is just changing. They're going to be adjusting these times over time during the testing. So all this is acceptable. Like, they're going to be changing them, doing tweaks. So I don't see, what's it called? For me, like, this is all just number changes to try to balance the attacks. But the biggest thing is that fighter spotting, bro. That's massive. Every single person that can give feedback needs to give feedback that this is a huge plus. We need that to go live. That's massive. And this will be going into, I think that this, we're planning to launch a patch with various quality of life changes for the testers. This should be going up soon. So it says August 2nd, I think, is when this is going to be going on. I have the Quacked disabled for now. I have to re-enable it later. Change parameters, researchable attack from increase from 5 to attack 6 seconds. Okay. That's massive. So yeah, they pretty much made it where, pretty much the long story short for all the CVs, they made it where their descent to attack is faster. That's pretty much what they did. They made it where they dive down quicker to be able to attack quicker, is all they did. So the automatic anti-air parameters changes bonus to the frequency of anti-aircraft guns firing rate increase from 10% to 20%. Defensive anti-aircraft perimeters changes. The continuous damage bonus was removed. Anti-aircraft fire parameters. So they removed the DFAA continuous fire damage bonus. Okay. So we'll see how that goes. It's probably because of the blinding. That's probably a why. Anti-air defense is the bonus to ship consumable premonition and reload while anti-air is apt to change from 50 to 30% for cruisers. That seems really weird for that seems really weird for cruisers, because for cruisers this is a 4-point skill and not a 2-point skill. For battleships it's a 2-point skill. For cruisers this is a 4-point skill. That's massive. That's a big nerf for if you're putting this on, like, for cruisers, which 90% of the player base isn't going to have this on. 90% of them. Like, I guarantee it, they're not going to have this on. So this is going to make people not have it on more, which is fine. It's usually you don't want to build this anyway, but it's such a big point worth. Because, like, most of the time you don't have CVs in your matches, right? So, like, you're not going to need this most of the time, but yeah. Yeah, most people are going to build it anyway. Interceptor captain skill found on carriers changed. Interceptor patrol has now been changed to low altitude. Therefore, they can now be correctly targeted by enemy anti-air and shot down. For this one in particular, I'm not super sure on this one. I feel like interceptors, like, legit, since they don't spot, interceptors don't spot at all. So I feel like interceptors should just be kept at high altitude to be able to just deal with the planes, but we'll see. Other than that, most of this I don't really like. So pretty much from this, there's three big changes here, right? One is the fighter spotting right here. That's the biggest change, right? Fighter spotting is the biggest, 100%. That's the biggest. Fighter spotting is the biggest thing we can note from this dev blog. And this is for the test server for the upcoming aircraft carriers and anti-air test updates. You guys can enter the code. I want the CV test CVs. I want to test CVs all caps to be able to enter in. Yeah. To be able to test it out for yourselves, you have to download a separate client. But no, this is the biggest thing from this dev blog. This whole section here, talking about the Harkiryu midway audacious changes. Long story short, they're just making it where the attack times are quicker. So, like, when they're at high altitude and they dive down, it's quicker for them to do the attack rather than having a longer time. And they also made it where their damage resistance is reduced. It's not as high as it was originally. Now it's reduced to match the time that they're, like, getting reduced, which is also massive. That's a big thing. So they get to attack quicker, but you're still doing as much anti-air damage. So to me, that's even. That's fine. Like, I'm not. It's not like a positive or a negative thing. It just makes it where they're able to they're just able to attack quicker, so it's not as confusing with the times. Increase the attack group accuracy, so it makes it accurate quicker. Okay. The big thing in here is the number of planes in the attack from 2 to 3 for Hakuryu. That's the biggest change here. So the Hakuryu's torps got they got a slight buff, but they also reduce the damage to match it. So that makes sense. Okay. And the third final thing that I can see here that they, like, the big changes here is the DFAA. The continuous damage bonus was removed. So when you activate DFA, you don't get that continuous damage bonus. That's kind of like the biggest thing with DFA is that continuous damage bonus, because it's like 300%. So I don't know why they would remove that, but I don't know. It kind of feels weird that they would remove that, but we'll see. The other ones were they nerfed the anti-air defense and ASW expert command for cruisers. Luckily, battleships didn't change, so it goes from 50% reduction to 30. Most people don't take this skill. Everyone was playing this in the test server just because it's a smaller environment and everyone wants to test the new like CVs, like how strong the CVs are. So they're mostly just trying to test that, so that's why for that. And of course, the other change is the interceptors. I can understand why they did this for interceptors. The main reason is it makes it where CVs can't just throw an interceptor in front of an enemy CV and they can't do anything. I so I can understand why they did that. Just thinking about it a little bit, I'm like, oh yeah, because if an interceptor is placed in front of a CV, interceptors can't be targeted by fighters, and they can only attack other actual like aircraft, which means that the interceptors would legit just hover above a CV, and the CV can't launch planes, it can't counter itself to be able to protect itself. So yeah, I can understand why they did that. So I'm very glad. Well, it makes it more balanced for CV players to where they can't like not do anything, so they're able to do something at least. But anyway, this is again as a dev blog they just released, so I'll have it in the comments for guys to take a look at. So, but yeah, the biggest change here, 100% the fighter spotting. We all like it took years for them to do this, but thank freaking God they finally did. Like holy shit, bro. Like that's massive. That is massive. Even though it's not completely gone, it being 2 kilometers is pretty much it being gone. Like 2 kilometers compared to 15 is massive. It is literally gone, which is what it needs to be. So we all should be very happy about that. It should be. Yeah. But anyway, hope you guys enjoyed that little tidbit of information for y'all to enjoy. So, coolios. If you guys have any questions, just let me know.